It's the Guillermo Moreno Show on Talk Radio 1680 KGED. Now, here is Guillermo Moreno.
On 4 years of this president and all he embraces as an aberrant moment in time. But if we give Donald Trump 8 years in the White House, he will forever and fundamentally.
That's enough, Joe. That's enough. We're going to cut you off there. Former Vice President Joe Biden announcing that he is running for the presidency of the United States. I think he'll get through the primary. I think he loses in 2020. I have John Estrada sitting next to me, political conservative commentator. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, you've been a part of Central Valley politics for a very long time. Tell us a little bit about how you've been involved locally, and then I want you to give me your take on Joe Biden jumping into this race.
Well, I go back a long way. My first campaign in the Central Valley was 1992.
92.
I was
7.
I was the campaign coordinator for the Bush Quail Committee for Veterans, for the Bush Quail Committee of the Central Valley.
Well, thank you for your service. You're a veteran.
Yes,
thank you.
I am a Navy veteran.
Thank you for your service.
Served about 8 years, and it was an honor. It was really a great honor. And so basically I started my campaign there, got very active with the Republican Party here in the Central Valley, and did a lot of campaigning. I was part of the Prop 187 campaign. I was the coordinator here in the Central Valley for the Prop 187 campaign. We worked very hard, and I got called lots of names during that campaign.
I bet you did. Now, is that because you're Latino and
both. Not only was I Latino, but also the fact that I was supporting that proposition by Pete Wilson. Then I decided that I would take a real good leap into the political arena, and I ran for Congress.
Oof. That's listen, and the reason I say oof is because you jump into the political realm, you're going to get beat up, you have to fundraise. It's rewarding, but it's a tough gig, right?
Yeah, it was really cool. I got a chance to run against a guy by the name of Calvin Dooley.
No way, Cal Dooley, Ira? Yeah.
I called him Double Dip Dooley.
He was a tall, lanky kind of.
He was a farmer. He said he was a full-time farmer. I question that he cannot be a full-time farmer and be a full-time congressman.
Yeah,
I just didn't think that was very possible.
What did you call it? Double Dip Dooley?
Double Dip Dooley.
I love it. All right, so you've been a part of politics for many years here locally. You know this man right here, former Vice President Joe Biden, announcing today that he's jumping in. We kind of all knew it. He's ahead of the polls. What do you think of former Vice President Joe Biden coming into this race?
Well, I think this was Barack Obama's biggest mistake, picking him as vice president.
Really?
Yeah, I think that first of all, Obama came in with the idea he was going to have change, and his very first decision was to bring Joe Biden into the picture, and I figured that was it. There's not going to be no change for the Democrats.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of, as vice president, he really didn't do anything. You think about it, vice presidency is kind of just a meh.
Well, my strategy against Joe Biden would be very simply that he is well connected to Obama. Obama had a lot of controversies during his administration. Whatever bad things happened to Obama should be pinned against Joe Biden also.
That's a good point, which brings me to his campaign video, right? He talks about Charlottesville and how our country is just in sham. It's just horrible. This country's a piece of you-know-what. But wait a minute, you had the president's ear for 8 years. You're telling me the country got that bad, or it was never? And that's the thing with some of these 2020 candidates is that they forgot that, hey, look, the president didn't just walk in. He did just walk in. On my bad. You had 8 years of the White House.
Exactly, and I think all those controversies could be pinned against Joe Biden because, if nothing else, he did nothing to stop it.
True.
He was part of the problem, and so He's got all his crazy stuff that he's done, plus all the bad political decisions that they've done. It's all going to come back to haunt him. And so either he loses in the primary or he loses in the general election.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I said this about his video. Two things. Kudos on coming out swinging, because I think he's going to try to play the Trump card and just come out swinging. And we'll see how he does on the debate stage. But if he keeps up his, he starts making nicknames for Beto O'Rourke and literally calls him Richard O'Rourke or does something, and he does he has kind of that Trump-esque kind of style, I think it might benefit him. But his video, I mean, he just went straight to racism. That's what he's trying to sell. He's like, elect me because the other guys are racist.
Timing in politics is everything. That's a bad timing. I don't think it's going to help him in the primary or the general election for him to pull out racism, because clearly Trump is not a racist. He's proven that. It's just not going to be pinned up against Trump.
Yeah. Does it surprise you that he's doing so well in the polls? Yeah, I don't see how he's doing this well. What is that saying about the Democrat electorate?
Well, I think it's the same thing with what happened with Hillary Clinton. Same strategy. The establishment still has a lot of voters that will vote for Joe Biden. Unfortunately, I think it's going to happen to him what happened to Hillary. They lose in national elections. They can't win.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's essentially the main point. So you think? It's so hard to predict. I mean, but it's fun doing it. I think he's able to weather the storm, and I think he does well. I think he's going to come in number one. I don't think this Democrat nomination is going to be all wrapped up by the time the Democrat convention comes in. I think there's going to be a brokered deal, and I think he's going to similar to like Hillary Clinton. He's going to edge out Bernie. Either that or the DNC is going to be in the money in the pocketbook again for an establishment candidate.
Yep, I think you're absolutely right. I think he could win the Democratic nomination, but I just don't think he could beat Trump. I think Trump's going to win.
Yeah, he's going to win no matter what. I agree with you on that one. So let me ask you this, because you've seen politics. You know how the Democrats choose their nominee, right? They have this kind of super delegate. It's stacked. It's rigged.
It's a brokered convention before the convention.
It is. It really is. Exactly. And that's why Bernie was, pardon my French, he was screwed out of the nomination. I mean, Bernie Sanders should have been the nominee in 2016. The Democrats already know, there's a huge push already for these super delegates. You think Joe Biden steps in where Hillary Clinton was at and he gets all those super delegates? Because a lot of these super delegates are either elected Democrat officials or have been in the machine for a very long time, and we might have a repeat of 2016.
I think that's a strong possibility. I definitely think that the establishment will continue to follow Joe Biden, and I think they're going to burn Bernie again.
I like that. Yeah. Bernie is going to get burned again. The thing that he has going against him is 2016. Let's just be honest. I mean, he's kind of fizzled out. I think his star power is fizzling out when you have other progressive wackos coming out. Let me ask you this, because you've seen politics now here in the Central Valley for many years. Did you ever think the Democrat Party was going to get this crazy, this soon, this progressive, this soon?
Well, I think that they have got very, very extreme. The Democrats are extreme with radical ideas. And I think that we need to keep pinning that on them. And the more radical ideas they come up with, the more extreme they look. And I think that's going to have great dividends for the Republican Party in the future. And no, to answer your question, no, I'm surprised that they keep coming up with crazy things.
I mean, I don't know what to think of it. I knew we were going to head this way. I didn't think we were going to be here right now. I thought we'd be in socialism crazyville, like maybe in 10 years from now, maybe when I was 50, or not that I'm going to be 50 in 10 years, but 20 years. But maybe I'm 50, 60s, like, those kids, they want everything for free. But we're here now, and it is awfully frightening. So listen, and I'll be honest with you, I kind of wish and I kind of hope Joe comes out and tries to reignite that Kennedy-esque base, because I know a lot of Democrats that necessarily aren't conservative, right? Yeah, it's your free choice. You'll come around, but they're not necessarily conservative. They're not progressive wacko. They long for the JFK, and I've said this. I don't know the 30th time I said this, but the progressives are all about what can this country do for you, not what you can do for this country. I think Joe Biden has a real opportunity to be that JFK-type candidate. You're not going to win, but, I mean, be that kind of JFK Dem.
Yeah, I just feel sorry for him that he's going to try it again. You know, Hillary had no business running again, but she did, and he's got the same mindset that he wants to be president under any circumstance, and I think it's going to be disaster for the Democrats again.
How old is he? I don't even know.
I think 76, maybe
76,
something like that.
Trump is up there too, right?
Yeah,
but he don't look it. I mean, that guy doesn't sleep. He doesn't.
He works a lot of hours.
He is, man. He really does. All right, John Estrada in studio with me. Can you stay for another segment?
Sure.
I want to get your input on California specifically and California Republicans. They just had a convention. California Republicans are struggling. Where has the party been? Where do you see it going? And, can we be relevant in California as the Republican Party?
I think we can.
All right, sounds good. He'll tell you why when we come back here on the Guillermo Moreno Show on the new Talk Radio 1680 KGED. All right, appreciate you guys tuning in on Facebook Live. If you guys want to make a comment, feel free to make a comment. If you want to call in, 559-442-1680. Looking at some of your comments here. Appreciate you guys commenting.
The Valley's new talk leader. Talk Radio 1680 KGED. Here again is Guillermo Moreno.
John Estrada filling in. Well, not filling in for me just yet. I kind of gave you a preview. He will be filling in for me on Monday. You're gonna take the wheel here at Talk Radio 1680 KGED, and some future stuff to come as well. He's been a part of the Republican Party for a very, very long time here in the Central Valley. We were just talking about it. Tell me what you said during the break.
Oh, the very first campaign I was actively involved in was for the second election of Ronald Reagan.
Oh, that's awesome. And have you always been Republican?
No, I have not. I switched over, but it was more of a political move than the actual philosophy. I've always been conservative. Let's put it that way.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Hey, we did have a call in, and they wanted to know if you make a citizen's arrest of an illegal, can you do that? And you and I were just talking we were saying, hey, you probably shouldn't do that, especially with all the news coming out. But just to let you know, overwhelming consensus is that it's not legal to make a citizen's arrest for illegal immigration, as it is a civil, not a criminal offense. And let's just be honest, guys. Don't do it. Not because you shouldn't, but don't do it because, I mean, you saw the news. It's in the realm of Border Patrol. Call Border Patrol. I mean, wherever you're at, just call. I remember when Ben was at the border and he was reporting live. Remember, within it took about half an hour, but they had the choppers. He was literally on the border. So, listen, I understand. The climate right now, you just don't do it. And it's like I said, it's overwhelming consensus is you just don't do it. John Estrada, political commentator here. He's going to be guest hosting for me on Monday. I want to talk about the Republican Party in California. We are now in the mega minority. The Democrats have overwhelmingly taken Sacramento. You've been able to see the Republican Party since the 80s, right? Mm-hmm. Since the 80s, essentially. What do you are we ever going to get to relevancy here in California? Do you think the Republican Party is dead? Do you think it can ever be brought back? In your experience, what have you seen?
Well, first of all, I truly believe the Republican Party in California is not dead. It's not. It is relevant. I think we fought the good fights and the good battles. Unfortunately, we were outplayed and outmaneuvered. It's not that our ideas were bad. I think it was just they did things that set us up for a complete wipeout. Ballot harvesting was one of those major things that we were surprised with, that we didn't take action on. Allowing illegals to register with the DMV and possible voting violations.
Yeah.
Illegals voting, I think that's a problem. I think we've just got to be much smarter and not let the Democrats get over on us.
Yeah, well, the problem is, all the ballot harvesting, they outworked us. Here it's legal. You can go around, you can collect a ballot. I've always said with ballot harvesting is you're not going to get a Republican to give you their ballot. You're more likely to get a liberal to give it. You know what I mean? Let's just be honest. That's just the facts. I have a little bit of a hard time with relevancy in our party. It's for me. I don't know if we're going to pick up any seats. I don't believe the California citizen is ever going to hurt that much to truly make a change. We are hurting, but I just don't think Democrats will get it and blame the Republicans. Listen, let me give you a quick story. I was at getting my hair cut, and one of the barbers was like, "Man, all these taxes, man, that Trump." And it's like, well, wait a minute, no, it's not Trump, it's the Democrats here in the state.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh, this crazy stuff that's going on in this state, the gas prices, that Trump." It's like, no, it's not Trump, guys. Like, listen, it's the Democrats that are in power. It's like a losing battle here, and I think
what it is, it's the media is totally, I call it the corrupt media, fake news, corrupt media, and what the sheeps of the Democratic Party are doing, and a lot of citizens in California, they're just following the establishment media, and I think that's the big cause of people believing the falsehoods.
Yeah. Yeah, well, not only that, but I think it's the dawn of social media, and you have a lot of these young generation just not really doing any research anymore. They don't care. It's almost as if politics has gotten almost Hollywood-esque type of. It's almost like entertainment when you think about it, and these young people latch onto these figures like AOC, like Bernie Sanders. They don't do their own research. They don't care what they have to say. And what little they do get from them is that everything is free. You just got to elect me. The other side is racist. They're rich and you're poor, and this is why.
Well, what it is we need young blood in the Republican Party, like yourself. You should run for Congress.
Yeah.
I think you'll be able to relate to the young voter much more than a guy like me or somebody my age. There's a lot of voters out there that could be moved. We're losing the battle in schools. We're losing the battle in the media. There is really not a campaign to really bring Latinos over to the Republican Party. The Latino media is totally absent of any type of Republican philosophy, presenters, host, anything. So we're getting whipped.
Well, let me ask you, because you were a candidate for Congress at one point in time, and you mentioned the Latino aspect of it. Latinos are conservative by nature.
Yes.
They're pro-life. Mm-hmm. They are pro-marriage value. I mean, they work. We work hard. Latino. Mm-hmm. Why aren't more Latinos conservatives? And you ran for Congress. I mean, was it a hard pitch to make to the Latino community?
Well, in those days, we're talking in the 90s. I didn't have a problem. The total arena was totally different. I did not have a problem with what's going on with Latinos. I think it was, in those days, it was a lot easier. Ronald Reagan realized that he needed to have the Mexican-American community support him for the 1984 election. And in fact, I'll be very honest with you, there was something I did pretty amazing.
What'd you do?
In 1983. I was laying in my bed, looking at the almanac, and found out that no Mexican-American had ever received the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Oh.
Okay? So I started this national campaign to get a Latino recognized by Ronald Reagan. And fortunately, Ronald Reagan gave Dr. Hector Garcia the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1984.
Wow! So
the first Mexican-American to receive that award. And it all started right here.
Wow. That's amazing. And do you think that helped him?
I think that helped him a lot. And I think that's what Trump is beginning to realize, that Hispanics are going to be Latinos are going to be a major play in 2020.
So how does he do that? Because, I mean,
it's happening already. The transition is beginning. There's more and more Latinos nationwide that are talking in support of Trump.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be avalanche. Because, see, the Democrats haven't really done anything for Latinos.
They haven't.
They're the same mess they were 50 years ago, or 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. The same mess.
Well, do you keep up with, like, Univision and all the Spanish media?
I don't really watch that.
But I do see some shift, Latinos that are becoming conservative, but you still have the vast majority that, I mean, Univision boom.
Well, first of all, they only broadcast those on the air. It's just like all the other establishment medias, like
MSNBC,
CNN. They'll only get Republicans that are going to talk bad about Trump on the air. That's what happens with the Spanish language media. They're only going to get Latinos that are going to talk bad about Trump. But there's a lot of Latinos out there that are not saying anything. They're going to vote for him.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I think, California, if you play your cards right here, I think a lot of Republican Latinos will come out and say, hey, listen. But it also has to do with our Republican Party. There has to be a reasonable logistical outreach to the Latino community and say, hey, look, you're Republican. You're not a Democrat. Don't be a Democrat just because it's tradition.
I think the issues are falling right on our laps. Housing is at a critical situation. We have a housing crisis in California. We have a crisis with taxes. We have a crisis with all kinds of different areas. There's crisis after crisis after crisis.
But again, like the misinformed Democrat, they think that, hey, Trump is in the White House. It's his fault. You know that. I mean, people are looking at the gas prices. Oh, that Trump, man! I tell you, the hardcore Democrats, and then they get all the misinformed Democrats, and they're like, "You're right, it is Trump," and it's really not. It's this state.
Well, we need to duplicate programs like yours and get the message out there.
I appreciate that.
Because I tell you, with a program like this, letting the truth come out, not a corrupt media, not fake news, but facts. You stay with the facts, and I guarantee you, sooner or later, credibility is going to be on your side. The regular media, they don't have any credibility left. Their numbers are going way, way down. In fact, I think they're even lower than Congress, and that's pretty amazing.
That is very true. All right, my last question here. You're a Latino Republican. I'm a Latino Republican. Have you experienced throughout your lifetime some kind of comments, especially from your own family, perhaps, like, hey, You're not supposed to be a Republican. The Republicans are only for the rich people. You're not rich and you're not white, so you shouldn't be Republican. I've been called a coconut.
Wow, that's a new one for me, but that doesn't surprise me. No, I have family members and I have friends that don't appreciate what I'm doing. But, it's like, do you stand back and just let falsehoods take over America? I'm sort of like the mindset that America is great. And it needs to continue to be great. And the way it continues to be great is people like me, like you, like the people out there going out there and fighting the good fight.
Yeah, because
we can never give up.
I think that's the most important thing. Because sometimes I'll be honest with you, I look at what's coming out of the California State Legislature, and they got, so many bills for problems we don't even have, bills that really create problems. And then I look and what can we do? And I just look at them. I just don't feel like we can do anything. So you're right. I think this is a pep talk I needed, because it's not the end, and maybe we can overcome.
And that's really why I'm coming back. I was planning to retire. I was planning to just kick back and just enjoy margaritas and Santa Cruz. But no, I said I got to get back in there and fight for 2020 again.
We need you.
Yeah, we're going to fight hard, and I think we're going to win.
Oh,
I think Trump's going to get reelected. I think we're going to regain some of those members of Congress we lost in California.
Really?
Yeah, I truly believe that's going to happen.
I hope so.
Orange County will get some of that stuff back. See, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have our own ballot harvesting campaign.
Amen.
Okay?
Amen.
And so we're going to get independents to come over and vote for Republicans, and that's how we're going to win this thing.
I agree. The only way we're going to counter the Democrats, and the Democrats are a machine. They have people that they're paid to go get those ballots and harvest. And the only way, you're right, we're going to be able to counter that is having our own ballot harvesting program. Because if not, we're just going to continue getting pummeled. I agree with you. The president will win in 2020. Let's see if we get some of those, House seats back. I would love to get Valadeo's seat back.
Yeah, I think it's possible. T.J. Cox, I think he's going to go too.
Weak candidate.
Yeah. I think that's going to happen. But
I'd love to get Costa out too.
Well, they've been trying a long time. Costa has a lot of very powerful friends, and unfortunately, I definitely would like to see him defeated. I've been trying for a long time.
Yeah. So you remember Johnny Teixeira's?
Yeah.
A heartbreak.
Yeah, Andy Vidak ran against
Andy
him.
Vidak,
he goes back a long time. Yeah,
we've had those. He's on the ropes. He's on the ropes, but we just can't deal that final knockout and get him out of Congress.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, Guillermo, thank you so much.
John Estrada, he's going to be filling in for me on Monday. He's very knowledgeable about politics, especially here in the Central Valley. He'll be guest hosting my show on Monday. I'm going to be on a much-needed little vacay, so I appreciate you coming in. You can also follow him where?
Just Conservative America.
Conservative America on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Conservative America. John Estrada, he'll be here on Monday. Much more for the Guillermo Moreno Show coming right up on the new Talk Radio 1680 KGD.